Talk Time with Inspirational Rob, my man over there. And I'm Erik G. Williams, but you can call me E. And we back on segment number 2 with our special guest, okay? Rocky Campbell. We were talking about your red block and how you embody different artists and things of that nature. I just want to do something fun.
The red room block.
What did I say?
The red block.
The red room block.
You
gotta say the whole thing.
That's got the ring. That's the ring.
And you gotta
there.
say
That's
entertheroom.com.
Enter the red room.
Enter the red room.
Entertheredroom.com. Got it.
Keep practicing.
I'm gonna get this thing right. I promise you I'm gonna get it right. I just wanna know, who's your celebrity crush?
Male, female.
Male, yeah, male, female.
Well, I'm gonna go male.
Well, it used to be Denzel, but that's
He's slipping.
He's aging.
Well, he got a son, though. He got a son.
No, he's not for me. I don't like young men.
Are you single?
No, sorry.
Young men like you. So hold on.
Are you single?
Are
you single on aisle 5?
So she said, young men like you, and they always trying to holler at you. I know that. So what's up with that?
Lately I've been getting old men.
Really? What? Okay,
Yeah.
and you gotta go. You gotta be definitive. What's old
Well, yeah, really.
I'm
for you?
70-something years old, late 60s, 70s.
That'd be old.
Okay.
To be honest, I'm gonna be really, really honest.
I mean, it'd be older.
I wouldn't want to deal with anybody past 55.
That's fair, but what about 35?
Thank you for coming.
No 30.
God bless y'all. Good night. Why?
Why?
I don't like really older men, and I don't like children either. As far as young men,
So
But
your
that's
gap
fair,
is
though.
my gap would be anywhere. Okay, 48. From 48 to 55. That's it.
That's fair though, because you know what? That's more than fair. Because
that ain't fair. Don't hype her up like that. That is not fair.
I
You
think
know,
it is for me.
you know how we are. We 80 years old, man, and we want a 30-year-old. Now, come on now.
I didn't set the standard,
Huh?
but the culture set the standard. It's a double standard, but that's just the
An
way
80-year-old
it
ain't. Most 80-year-olds ain't having a 70-year-old.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I would just say, this is me. I just think you limit your opportunities from that age range, and whatever your choice is whatever your choice is. But I just think you narrow the gap.
Okay, well that's fine.
Yeah, and I'm okay. So anyway, we were talking about celebrity crush to be Denzel, the Red Room blog. I'm moving on. I'm gonna move on. You evolved to a place where you said you dealt with some esteem issues,
I did. Yeah.
and then you had some abuse trauma.
I did.
Talk about that for a moment.
So I was 20. Let's see. I think I was like 23. No, 23, 24 years old, and I got involved with. He was older than me. So
Hello.
Okay, well
I guess lesson learned.
But anyway, I think he was like 32. So that was way older for me. Yeah. So but he had been married before. He had kids, all that. I didn't have that. I started doing hair when I was 19, but I was still fresh in the game.
You were 24?
20 I was like 23,
Okay.
to be honest. But I was with him for 3 years.
Okay.
So that's why I said 23, 24.
You started at 23, or you were with him starting at 20?
No. I started dealing with him when I was like 23.
Got it. Okay.
A 23-year-old woman is like a 33-year-old guy, really, actually.
Yeah, I mean, but-
yeah. And I was fresh in the game and making money, and I had no kids, and had my own car, had this, had that, good credit, all that stuff. So, but yeah, so and he was a hairstylist too.
Okay.
And the first year was great, and I thought I was, I was like, and at that time I was still living at home with my mom, and I kept a lot of stuff from her. And my mother, was a praying woman, so she already knew. And so I thought I was in love and everything, and ended up moving out of my mother's house
Okay.
abruptly.
Mm-hmm.
Did it all wrong.
Yeah.
But of course we made that right before Mama passed. But and I end up living with the guy, and it's one thing turned into it. It was baby steps. It started off, he was verbally abusive. And at this time, I still had issues with self-esteem. So,
That's
and
a
it
perfect
started
storm
off.
there, boy.
Yeah, but people
So that
didn't.
sounded like what? So people will have an identifier.
Which part?
The verbal abuse.
The verbal
towards you.
abuse is basically when it's like, you stupid, you dumb.
Okay.
You so dumb, you didn't know that? You stupid, you didn't know that?
Okay.
So I went through that part, and and then I don't even remember. I think the first time a situation occurred, and then we got into argument or something, and literally, now mind you, I did hair, he did hair too. I worked in his salon, also.
So now y'all together all the time.
Together all the time. Yeah. But for the most part, we still had our space because, when I would leave, whatever. So a situation occurred. We got an argument, and he literally hit me in my eye, and I had a black eye. First time. And
Fist
I was at the
open
salon.
hand.
It was a fist. I had a black eye the next day. However, at that time when it happened, I came to work. I wore glasses though, which was when I talk about it now, it sounds like a movie. Mm-hmm. It's unbelievable to me when I think about it now. I'm like, this was a freaking movie, and it was. It really was. But
so let me interject there. What was the conversation after he hit you?
I mean, real talk, that whole Tina Turner movie.
Okay.
That's how they do. That whole, I'm sorry, you gonna buy you a gift.
Okay.
I love you.
You never saw that before, though.
No, not that first year. I was young. I was mesmerized. The older guy, he's fine. I don't even like men that look like that no more. So, he tall, and I was like, he liked me, But so I didn't know. And to be honest, I didn't have my father was never in my home.
Okay.
So I didn't have that as a image to. It was just me and my mom. So, so it is important. And I always thought that not having my father in the home was not a big deal.
Okay.
I always felt like that didn't bother me because my daddy went around.
I shared that with somebody, a young kid that lives on my street just the other day. I always like pouring into the younger guys, especially ones that live in my neighborhood. Especially if they're in their kid's life, I'm always encouraging them. So he's got this young girl, and I told him this. I said, look here. I commend you because one of the greatest things you could do for your daughter is to be in her life. I said, I think that it's even more important for a guy to be in his daughter's life than for a guy to be in his son's life. Because men can kind of make it, but a woman, if that model is not there, you see what I'm saying? And you thought you were okay, right?
To me, I had a perfect mom. I mean, of course you talk, like my mom get on my nerves when you little or whatever. But for the most part, I had an excellent mom. She grind. I mean, and now I look at myself and I see my mom. Wow. So I didn't know that my father not being in the house affected me. It affected my relationship.
Of course.
I have no idea.
Okay.
Do you talk about that on the blog to the women? About that point?
I have not got to that.
Because that's serious.
And that's why this is a good opening for me.
So did you ever meet him, know him? What was
yes,
the status?
Yes. Matter of fact, when my mom passed, he was at the wake and everything.
Okay.
Yeah. But we don't have a relationship.
Never.
He never, my mother, her wish just went, even before she passed, was like, she always like, well, I really want you to, contact your dad. And that. It got to the point of sometimes I'm like, Ma, I'm a grown woman. He a grown man. Right. You don't have to do that no more. But she was like, yes. Okay. Mm-hmm. My aunt, my whole family, he worked at the post office with my aunt. Mm-hmm. But
So let me tie that in. So from the abuse perspective, you felt that deficit contributed to your esteem and you're staying there. Is that what you're saying?
The fact that my father wasn't in my life?
Yes.
I feel that I'm sure it affected me.
Okay.
In that manner to make that choice.
To Rob's point, you felt uncovered? Or no protector? Or where's my daddy doing this?
Yeah, to a certain degree, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So
that's the thing there, because I do a lot of counseling in that, been counseling and all that, psychology degree and all that stuff. And so I hear a lot of this, and what I'm hearing in you is an amazing thing. You said, and y'all women, I want y'all to hear this because I know she's got a story to share with you, and this is going to make sense. She didn't even realize that she was missing that.
Mm-hmm.
She thought she was good,
Mm-hmm.
but it manifested when she got into a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
and that's
Fathers are necessary.
Yep.
I believe so. So that was the incident number one. He blacked your eye. You went and everything was okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I came to work, and of course he was like, "I'm sorry," blah blah blah. When he got home, "I'm sorry," and blah blah blah, all this other stuff.
Did anybody notice?
Yeah, I had a couple of clients to this day
Okay.
that still every so often
And they said,
they would, "You okay? But why you got those glasses on?" They never said, "Did he do anything?" It was
Okay.
never that.
do you wish they had said something? Is that a part of the process?
Maybe because at the end of the day, if you're not ready to walk away anyway, it don't matter.
Okay.
It don't matter who say what to
That's
you.
major.
That's so true.
You know, so
That's
my
so
own
true.
mother, she never really, but my mother knew something was wrong.
Okay.
And even me leaving my mother's home was because I felt like I was so in love. And that's even how I left.
Okay.
Because my mother wasn't really feeling it over time. And I'm like, well, I'm in love. I'm going to do what I want to do. So it caused problems on that end.
Devastate her?
Yes, it did.
Because you're her only
Yes,
child.
it did. Yes, it did. And I regretted that. Over, once I really realized, because I was my mother's only child, and I get it now. I have a child. I have an only child, and so one thing I do know,
Now
my mother always
right?
my mother always told me, "Okay, you gonna reap it when you have a child." I'm like, whatever. I'm like, yeah, you're right,
be
Mama.
different, right?
Right,
Boy or girl?
He a boy, and he's
Okay.
I'm still reaping. He about to be 21. I'm still reaping.
So now you getting it back,
Yeah.
but now you're here.
Yeah.
So he hit you, and you got to take me through that whole process. So now,
I mean, we went through the, it was several different incidents. I can't,
Right.
and it's so crazy. Like this was a serious story, and the whole ending. To make a long story short, I mean, he did time.
Yeah.
That's just how bad the situation was.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
Really?
another we can, but it was, and it was never, see, to me at that time, I didn't really think it was abuse, really, because he hit me that time, and then 3 weeks went by and it was fine.
It was blissful again. Huh?
And then the
that's-
fourth week, he didn't basically almost spit in my face. Or pushed me or said I would, and I'll never forget one day.
It's just.
It was a lot.
It's
It was a lot.
revolving.
It was, it just.
So when did you have your epiphany? This is abuse.
I don't know. Maybe let's see. We were together for 3 years, so maybe like the middle of the second year. But I still stayed.
Why?
Because I was like,
What's the mentality?
he loved me,
Okay.
He loved me.
Yeah, he gotta love
He
me.
bought me this shirt the other day.
Yeah.
He loved me. He
And
said I was pretty.
He apologized.
He apologized. He said I was pretty.
Yeah.
After he said I was ugly.
Okay.
How many times did he say he wouldn't do it again?
Oh, that's a great question.
That's why I tell people that whole Tina Turner movie is what they do. That's not gonna happen no more. This, that, and the other. But then the crazy thing is through all of that, he was still messing around with other women too.
And you
So
knew
he
this.
was just off the chart.
He got women pregnant. I mean, he had the last thing, whatever. When I was like, okay, I'm done. The girl got pregnant twice. Showed up at the door. It was
That's a mess.
It was a mess. And at this point, I had ran up my credit cards for him. That's what I told you. So my credit was good. He got his apartment. I think I got the apartment in my name, phone, all this. So it was.
So people see you now, successful businesswoman. You got your blog going on. You got your, skincare products. You got all this stuff going on. They don't know your story.
Yeah.
And they think that, well, she made it. I can be in this now. I'll be all right. Look at her. Look where she is. What would you say to that?
Everybody doesn't make it through.
Oh.
Yeah.
There's tons of women that have this same story, but they're not here to tell us because they're no longer alive. They're not living. It was God's grace that I'm who the person I am now, and that I was able to get out of that, because the end part of it was the fact when I finally decided I'm done,
Yeah.
he wasn't feeling that.
Wow.
Mind you, he had another woman and everything.
Wow.
And I moved. I had my own apartment, everything. And this man literally showed up at my house with the girl's car, driving the girl's car,
Really?
and waited for me to get ready to go to work. And I got ready to, it was all kinds of stuff that happened. I had moved on with my life, whatever. There was a store across the street from my apartment. I was living on 7 Mile, like Telegraph area. And he would call, because back then we had payphones. He would call from the payphone, but he would be looking at me in my place, talking to me. Well, where you going or what you doing? And it got so to the point I was so nervous. I literally, I knew if I hung up on him, he about to come bust my door in. So what I would do, it got to the point when he would call, I would answer the phone and put the phone down and start getting dressed and leave because he couldn't see where I parked. So he would still think I'm on the phone.
Wow.
Because I was too scared to be like, oh, okay, I got to go or whatever. There were times he popped up at my apartment, basically knocked the door off the hinges. I had to call the police. I was hemmed up on the wall, all kinds of crazy stuff, and when I talk about it, and when all this stuff was happening at that time, and my clients knew about it, at some point they started realizing, the sad part was that there were still some women that believe I lied. There were some women that were like, oh, she exaggerated, because he was like a smooth talker and all that other stuff. So that was hurtful. I was dealing with this.
So that
and
that in itself will keep a lot of women from coming forward.
Absolutely.
Because then you got women too.
Yeah.
Vouching for the guy. And shaming the person that's being abused.
Yeah, and back then I will admit, now I was a bit I hung out a lot or whatever, and I used to be just butt naked. Okay. So
that's no justification.
Oh, absolutely not. But when people look at it as well, she look how she dressed. She ain't nothing wrong with her. She good. Yeah. And so but it just.
But do you think you were doing that to keep him?
No.
Okay.
I have low self-esteem.
Okay.
And that's why I tell people feel like when women are dressed like that all the time, just exposing everything. Oh, no, I had low self-esteem. So I felt that the only way that I could attract a man is if my butt is out or if my breasts are out and, if I show him this. Now, ain't nothing wrong with having a little cleavage out, you just get. But that was a total, I look back.
Nothing to the imagination. You just put it out there. No. And let me say, it is attractive. It will attract.
All the wrong people.
It will attract.
Yeah.
It will attract. But
all the wrong people.
What they say, less is more. In the sense that in the sense that it's leave something to the imagination.
Yeah,
definitely.
And
that but I that was so I think people probably looked at that too sometimes, like, well,
But that's just so.
But it wasn't a lot of. It was only I can count them on one hand, so that was kind of hurtful. So when everything ended, it was a huge blow up, and when I told that story, that's when everybody's like, she's lying, because I had to. He went to jail, and I had to go. I had a 5-day trial. We was in trial for 5 days.
Really? 5 days?
Mm-hmm.
That's serious.
What's
that's
crazy?
That's serious.
I was assigned to a juror on that trial, but I had to recuse myself because I knew you.
Really?
Yep, I had to. Yep. It was.
Go figure that.
It just came to my remembrance.
That's crazy.
Because I only did jury duty one time, and that was the time.
Yeah, it was several charges on him.
You do a 5. If it's a 5-day trial, it was serious.
Yeah. Well, court. Yeah. I mean, I had him for sexual.
Imprisonment and all whatever.
No, sexual committing sexual content. Something.
Yeah.
There's a lot, but like I said, when because basically I was kidnapped. So when I got ready to leave,
he held against you.
Yeah. So when I got ready to leave to go to work, I'm leaning over in my car, and he pushed me all the way in my car, and crawled over me and got in the driver's side and drove me to his salon, because that's where he had a room and everything in there. So that was the whole situation. At the time, I'm gonna tell you, your mind be going, because he had a gun too. Now I don't know if bullets was in it or not.
Right.
But at this point, I know he a nut. So
Yeah.
So I had a client that day, I'll never forget it, and I was freaking out, and I'm in the car, he talking all this crazy stuff. We go to his salon. Well, you go in this room, whatever, and he just talking like, I don't understand why you left me, and blah blah blah, this and the other. So what I did, in my mind, I'm like, I don't know what to do. So it came, maybe it had to be God. So what I did, I said, I need to call my client, because if I don't call my client, they're gonna come looking for, they're gonna know something's wrong.
Yeah.
So what I did, I didn't call my client. I called my best friend, because she knew that I was dealing with all this mess. I called my best friend. My god baby answered the phone, and I'm like, let me speak to your mama, baby, whatever, as if it was my client. My best friend got on the phone, and that's when Call ID just came out. So she saw the number. She was like, are you with them? She said, I'm calling the police. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be late. Can't
So she
believe.
knew what the deal was.
And the police came.
And well, let me tell you how this went down. So after he did all his ramping and talking and acting as though, I guess he was going to, I don't know, rape me or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It had to be God, but he changed his mind. He was like, just put your clothes on. I don't have time for this. I don't even want you no more.
Wow.
Got up, got in the car. He said, I'm got to take me back home. When we got to my house, because clearly my girlfriend at the time, was smart as heck. She was at my apartment in the parking lot. And he said, I'm just going to drop you off here. The police were there with her. I don't know how. And when he dropped me off, I saw her, jumped in the car with her. And when he got ready to take off, the police pulled right up on him. And they arrested him right there in that parking lot. It was so crazy how it happened.
That's God.
Because
that's God.
It was absolutely God. And then that's when he went to court, and it was a whole trial. And that trial was draining, because of course I had to get on their stand and speak. And so.
You tell everything.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So take me through steps. One thing I heard that I think you said is significant is that you had a girlfriend. Mm-hmm. I think people have to, even if you're in a bad situation.
That was my best friend at the time. Don't say somebody like that. No.
Well, I mean.
No, but I hear you.
Yeah. Your best friend, your BFF, whatever we use
like
nowadays.
Yeah.
To let somebody know.
Yeah.
What are some other steps that you recognize or that women can take? First of all, to recognize that they're in an abusive relationship.
Yeah, that's the first thing. Because I didn't know at first.
Okay.
I just thought that, well, maybe I did something wrong. Maybe he just had a bad day and I said something wrong.
So how much is too much?
One time is too much.
Okay.
To be honest.
Okay.
My black eye was too much.
It's too much. Okay.
Anytime somebody's affecting your outer appearance, that's too much.
Okay. Okay.
You affecting me. And you're not actually doing services to enhance my beauty.
Right.
So I say that I want to be just that definitive because some people's like, well, there's a 3-strike rule, or time he just grabbed me forcefully and threw me against the wall. He didn't hit me in the eye. We start to justify
but
things.
I'm gonna tell you the signs I ignored was the verbal abuse.
Okay.
I ignored that. There was no hitting.
Yeah.
There was, his the things he would say, how he would say it, the tone of it.
Yeah, you're dumb and stuff.
It was like this. It goes like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it gets to there, that's it. So.
And verbal abuse you would categorize as something that's demeaning.
Exactly.
Or and
something that doesn't make you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like
so
that.
It's not just an argument or disagreement. It gets the verbal abuse when I attack you personally. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I remember times, like I said, when he actually called me ugly. He got this other girl pregnant or whatever, and I never forget, now we was living together. And basically, he would just say, he was like, she had the baby. Mm-hmm. He left my house. He left our apartment to go be with her in labor. Wow. And I sat up at home and waited and was like, well, And I never forget, he was like, I wonder, if you had a baby by me, what it would look like. I don't know. I wonder. So all that stuff, I carried all that with me. I was already feeling some kind of way. So, so yeah.
That's really, that's horrible. It's growing up, my mom would not, with my sisters, 7 boys and 5 girls, man, we couldn't, if I raised my hand to my sister, I was dead.
Yeah.
I couldn't even raise my hand. I couldn't say dumb. My mother wouldn't allow us to call each other dumb.
Yeah.
You couldn't say stupid.
Yeah.
And you better not call your sister stupid. And you better
You're
not call your sister
shut
dumb.
up either.
You couldn't say shut up.
Yeah.
Couldn't say shut up. And especially to the girls.
Yeah.
I'm at a place, I think you and I were discussing this. I'm at a place in my life where I don't know what it is. I always wanted girls. I didn't have girls. I had 2 boys. Always wanted the girls. Whatever. Didn't. I'm begging my sons to give me
God
some
gave you what you needed.
He did. He really did. He really did.
Yeah.
I tell my boys now that just give me some granddaughters. I'll be good with that.
You're right.
But you know what though? I'm at a place and I was sharing this with you, E. I feel like one of my missions in life is to protect women. Now that might sound a little weird or odd, but I hate to see women in distress. I hate to see, especially younger women, I hate to see them being abused, even if it's verbal. I hate to see it. I got a real problem with that. I feel like I'm supposed to be protecting women. And I don't know where that came from. I think it almost feels like it's a mission of mine. That's why through the Inspirational Rob and stuff like that, I'm always, sometimes, especially in counseling, a lot of times when I counsel people and with husbands and wives, they always think I'm siding with the woman. And I tell them in most cases I do, because in most cases these men are crazy. But not always, and certainly not always. But my point is that I have this affection or this need, it might be twisted, I don't know, to protect women.
I don't think it's twisted at all.
More men like that. I feel like that.
Yeah.
And it's been but I cherish my sisters. And you know what I'm saying? One of them had passed, but I cherish them. You know what I'm saying? And I'm telling you, I'll run through hell for my sisters.
Yeah, you're a protector.
Yeah.
He said something, and I want to get your opinion. What could we have done differently as men to help you in that situation, if anything?
What you could have done? You mean in terms of
just the men around you, or even?
See, that's the thing. I didn't really have a lot of, at that time, I really didn't have a lot of men around me, and then I have a small family, and then I kept a lot of people didn't know. So.
Do you think men failed him?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
I'm sure, absolutely.
Did any of his?
And then when I look back, I got heard later on, he abused his wife, his ex-wife. The girl that he got pregnant, he ended up marrying her. I found out he was beating on her.
Of course.
So actually I said God just took me right on out, because the woman he messed around with me, because I had a situation with her. That was a situation too. And she ended up marrying him, and so.
And here you are today.
I am.
Here you are today.
Are you healed?
Man.
I am.
Okay.
I am. And I had to really think about it, but I am.
Continuous process?
It's a continuous process, but the hard part I've gotten through. The self-esteem, the whole, all of that. That's I'm past
You seem like you've your esteem level is really heightened.
It has.
And the thing about it, because I look at you now and I can't see that other person, because as I said, in my line of business and what I do, I see all the signs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I see you right now, and you look whole. Whole, W-H-O-L-E.
I know.
W-H-O-L-E.
Right.
You look like a hoe.
Jesus.
Well, Rocky. The whole Rocky.
You look whole.
Yeah, whole.
Gotcha.
W-H-O-L-E.
W-H-O-L-E. And the thing is that and as I go back to this, I see a businesswoman.
Yeah.
I see a woman who has, at the top of her in her industry, and yet you've been through all of this stuff. People need to hear your story, because sometimes I think especially once we've attained something, once we become whole, once we're at peace and all that, now we feel like, well, I don't want to tell people that. I don't want to tell people that, because I want them to see me as I am now. I don't want them to see that. I think we have an obligation. I think when God, especially because you acknowledge it's God, right? God's gotten you through that.
Yeah.
You've progressed. Businesswoman, you're at the height of your career, in your industry, you're at the top. You got your skincare product. I want to talk about that just a little bit too. But, you know what I'm saying? I think you still have an obligation to give back and to share our story.
Yeah.
So you getting it out there?
Yeah. I wanted this. This has been I've been wanting to get to this in the blog anyway.
Okay.
So this was really absolutely helpful too, because I want to incorporate this story in my blog for a lot of women that have or are still going through it.
Yeah.
Like I say all the time, tons of women have been through this. I understand that. But sometimes it's your story that can reach this person.
Yeah.
You know, whatever Janet Jackson might have went through, you might be like, yeah, nah, whatever, she's a celebrity. But you never know, just that regular person that went through it can touch somebody else. So I felt for me that I had a voice in this, and I needed to, and it's time for me to talk about it. Yeah. I'm no longer ashamed. I'm no longer embarrassed. Yeah. And I don't have a problem with telling anybody what I went through. Yeah. Because of who I am now.
That's good.
So
that's good. Yeah. I used to do hair, okay.
Here we go.
No. I was a hairstylist. I did, and I was at the top of the industry at that time. But here's the thing about it, and I know you can attest to this, is that when you have those clients in your chair, I mean, you become their counselor. You see what I'm saying? You become their sounding board. You become all of that. What you do with that, you know what I'm saying, is up to you. But I think you are trying to broaden that. It's not just the one-on-one, because sometimes we just say, oh, just between your arm and keep it there. When you broaden it a little bit, I think that's important. And that's why I'm excited for you in your whole blogging, your vlogging and all of that. I'm excited for you because I think you have a platform. You have a platform that a lot of people don't have. And the fact that people are going to trust you, you know, when you're actually touching people's hair and stuff like that, you're into their life. Yeah. Whether you know it or not. Yeah. I mean, it's a spiritual thing. It is. So now you're taking it to a whole nother level. I'm just proud of you.
Yeah. Thank you. It is amazing now when you sit in that chair. I don't know what it's something about that chair. As you said, it's spiritual. You just feel like you're comfortable and you just start to talk it. Well, now I'm just talking about the beautician chair or the salon chair. And yours probably are red, I'm sure. That just adds. They're not?
Wow, but I like this.
Good. Well, thank you so much. We're not going to hold you. We thank you for coming. What's next for Rocky and the red? The red room.
So horrible.
I'm terrible. You know, that's that dyslexia from Henry Ford and all that stuff, you know. Entertheredroom.com.
Entertheredroom.com.
And what's next?
We're just expanding it. We're expanding the blog. This right here, I want to go deeper into this. I want to be able to reach people that are going through this of all ages. I want people to be able to talk about it, even on my blog. So it's a lot of different things that we're doing. Just like when we were talking about earlier on about the channeling, that was something new that we added. Yeah. So I'm consistently growing and doing.
Where's your salon?
The salon is at Ricardo's Place Studio, in Berkeley, Michigan. Detroit, basically. But Ricardo's Place Studio, that's the studio, and it's intimate. Ricardo's? I named it after my son.
My nephew's name is Ricardo.
Not that he cares, but yeah, I named it after my son. I always said if I had a girl or a boy, I was going to name my business behind him. So.
Shout out to Ricardo. It was named after you. That's the family business, Ricardo. She's looking for you to take it over. Thank you so much. I always like to do, what my guests are really thinking. So I'm going to throw you 3 words. You tell me the first thing come to your mind.
Oh, wow, okay.
Of course, I'm going to start with red.
Red, sexy.
Sexy. Okay. All right. Blue is my favorite color. That's sexy too. Okay, red, sexy. Hair.
Texture.
Okay. Texture. Love.
I'm supposed to have the first word to go.
Whatever comes to your mind, love.
Overrated.
Whoa. Okay, that's a whole nother show.
That's another
we
show.
have to go. That's it.
Show.
Thank you for coming to Talk Time with Inspirational Rob, my man.
Much love to you. Much love to you.
And and we'll have her back for love overrated.
We got
like, share, comment. Thank y'all for joining us.